Daramola, an educationist par excellence, was born on the 15th of December 1954 at Ogume in Delta State. A native of Owo in Ondo State, he had his primary, secondary and university education in Lagos State. He shared some of his experiences while growing up as a child from a humble background.
My parents were extremely poor, very, very poor. And I also grew up in an environment that was not really challenging as such for education. But my father happens to be then a teacher. And the usual thing for teachers in those days was to ensure that at least their children, went to school, which he did. But at the time, he did not even have sufficient money to send me to school. So my mother had to come in again to assist. And I thank God that today I have reasons to thank God. My dad was extremely religious, very religious, and that really rubbed off on me. My mom was highly hardworking, very hardworking, and that also helped me. And she also taught me a lesson in life. She kept saying, never borrow to survive. And that really went a long way to help me. And that's the reason why I am not a good borrower, because I don't even know how to borrow. And I don't know how to beg. So that simply means I have to work very hard to ensure that at least I have sufficient, resources to take care of my family. And I want to thank God for that.
It took a major step that shaped his destiny and career when he enrolled in the Teachers Training College and acquired the certificate in the mid-70s. This decision changed his destiny from becoming an aeronautical engineer to that of a teacher, a job he enjoys with a passion.
I got admitted to one of the teachers' colleges around because of the fact that it was on, we don't have to pay. I had to go to teacher college, and here I discovered that I had this grace to teach. I got interested in education, and I saw that it was something that could help others, and that was how I started my career as a teacher. But by the time I spent a year or two, I was not too happy with myself. I felt, look, it's like there was no fulfillment. So I had to seek for admission at Unilag. I was admitted for the NCE course. As I was finishing the NCE course, I got admitted again for my BSc in education. No sooner I finished that one too, I enrolled immediately for my master's degree. I could have gone back for my PhD, if not that along the line one of the lecturers said, why don't you give yourself rest of mind a little and try outside.
In the home front, he met his beautiful wife in church under the leading of the Holy Spirit. They have been together for over 30 years and are blessed with wonderful children and a grandchild.
Well, interestingly, my wife and I were attending the same church, but we're not close. We're very young, but I found it very difficult to speak to a lady because I was very shy. Until one day I was praying. Although people have been troubling me here and there, when are you going to marry? You are growing up, you are going to school. I said, one thing I know is at the right time, God will lead me to the right person. Because that was my belief. On that morning, as I was praying, it was impressed upon my spirit that, what about that lady in the church? I said, who? I don't want any wala. Until another day along the line, the impression became bigger and bigger. I said, but God, can't you give me another person, another one? Finally, after about a month or two, I yielded. But I never spoke to her. I never said anything. Until one evening, after the evening service, I was too shy to talk to her. So I wrote in the paper and said, can you be the mother of my children? And I was very quick to run away quickly. And today we thank God that that prayer, that request was granted. And I tell you, we have been together now for over 30 years, to the glory of God. And God has also blessed us with kids that are doing very well.
He started as a classroom teacher and then became a lecturer. He also joined the private sector where he worked as a general manager and registrar of an accountancy tutors institute.
At a point in time, I had to leave teaching. I had to leave teaching. I went to private sector. When I was in private sector, I was a general manager of a sister company, that's Daramola'S, and also an assistant general manager of another company. There was a main company. One was into properties, but the other one was into, supplies, production of cosmetics and other things. And they trained me a lot in that area.
In search of fulfillment, he left the private sector and went back to the Lagos State Civil Service as an inspector of education.
There was this day I came back from office, from the outside station, and I got back to the office. I felt I was not having fulfillment. Yes, there are so many things, so many privileges that I was, exposed to, but I felt a kind of gap inside of me. And in my usual way, within a month or two, I tendered my letter. I said I'm not working again. Eventually, I started with National Institute for Sports as a part-time lecturer. I lectured for some time, and later moved to an accounting institute where I also worked as a registrar, both registrar and a lecturer, until I finally came back again to service to join the inspectorate. And from inspectorate to where I am today, private education.
Presently, Ibukun Daramola is a director in the private education, and he has been deeply involved in the compilation of an enduring policy guideline on the establishment of private schools in Lagos State.
By the time I came to private education, I saw the need for the place to be restructured, and so that also assisted me, gave me the opportunity to put in the little I could, redrawing the policy guidelines, working on several things just to help private schools. And today we thank God that there is a kind of peace in private education in Lagos State.
He also took part in the accreditation of some schools for international acceptance and recognition.
I also worked with some other international organizations like Spain and DP. I also worked with international accreditation organization. They are a group of they accredit schools for international purposes.
His passion to adapt the internationally accepted education standards for private schools led him to raise a memorandum on the grading of private schools, which today has acceptance from DFID and DP, two UK-based organizations.
Grading exercise we are doing now is just beginning. That's on ground. And now of interest is the fact that the World Bank is also interested in private education. So there are so many things to do.
Apart from this, Ibukun Daramola has been involved in many extra ministerial assignments, such as petroleum tax generation for Lagos State during the military era, training of nurses and caregivers on total breastfeeding practice, to mention but a few.
There was a time we did this revenue drive by asking people to pay tax through petroleum means. Then we were sent to different petrol stations to drive them to pay tax, which was really, really challenging. So many activities I took part in, and thank God that God saw me through.
Daramola heeded to the voice of God. He became a minister in God's vineyard, and he is currently the resident pastor of Imuwola Foursquare Gospel Church in Ikorodu. In search for more knowledge, he went to the School of Theology and backed a bachelor's degree in theology.
Because of my quest for knowledge, I also went to Bible college where I obtained a bachelor's degree in theology. And that also exposed me to a lot of things. I just pray that after retirement, I'll still be able to go back to school again and read more, because I love knowledge.
Ibukun Daramola has been there. He has seen it and has conquered. And as he retires, some of his colleagues applauded him for a job well done.
Daramola is very quiet and very unassuming. He is easy to work with, and also he is very pleasant. Mr. Daramola also I found to be rich in knowledge. He's what they call erudite, especially in the area of educational planning and management. He is that. Mr. Daramola also I discovered a lot about him. He has the pastoral qualities. He is a good counselor. He's a good advisor. But above all, I know that Mr. Daramola also is very hardworking.
I'm wishing him the best because it's only God that is inevitable, but he will leave a vacuum that it will be very difficult to fill, because you need to see him when he's arguing. He's passionate, and above all, if in the religious cycle, he's a liberal person as far as religion is concerned. He's a Nigerian to the core.
Mr. Daramola'S is a man of God and very hardworking. I want to use this medium to wish him long life and happy retirement. I pray that God will guide him to spend his post-service years in a way that will be pleasing to God and to himself. And I wish the Lord will grant him all that he desires and wish for himself.
The working encounter I had with Mr. Daramola was when we started the grading of schools exercise. And the way he coordinated all the members of the committee was very, very impressive, because he's an officer that is very dedicated to his job. And I would say he has qualities of a good leader, which he displayed whenever the opportunity arises.
I'm sure the ministry colleague will be missing him, but I will be missing him a lot more, because everything that I have done with the department, I have done with him. We have worked on several committees. We have talked about ideas, even post-retirement ideas. He has demonstrated immense confidence in me, and I feel very humbled by my knowing him. A very brilliant man, very brilliant man. I call him our Dean of Faculty, because if you go to Mr. Daramola, whether there is a notice or none, you can be very sure you will walk away more knowledgeable than you came in.
Mr. Daramola is a responsible and respectable gentleman, a man that is fully dedicated to his job, and he has served the ministry meritoriously. I just wish that as he's retiring, he will retire into better life, prosperity, and success.
He's a very gentleman, and I love his countenance. He's a man that if you are in need of anything and you go to him, I mean, the way he will receive you, he will give you a warm warm welcome. And that's such a man is a man you can relate with. It's a pity that kind of man is going. I still wish I can still have 4 or 5 years in service.
So many of us, we really enjoyed him. And when it comes to policy issues, he's very vast on it, and some of us that are his subordinates, we want to be like him, because if you are not versed on policy issues in the ministry, you can't really know much. And now that he's retiring, we really wish him a happy retiring and God's blessings. But one thing I know about him is that when it comes to bringing in new ideas, he is always contributing.
Here is wishing this great man, who has positively touched the lives of those around him, a happy retirement and more elbow grease.